Hi, Joe.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah,
Excellent.
not too bad. How's everybody else doing?
We're all right. Well, I am anyway.
Yeah,
Why are
fine.
you looking a bit cheeky, Joe? You've got a little cheeky smile on your face.
No, I'll be really honest with you. It's just really nice to see everybody. I'm genuine. This is genuine.
We know it is, Joe. Anyone else would think they were taking the piss.
Have you been stuck in house with Paddy for 5 weeks, though?
Yeah, and my sister, yeah.
Bet that one in particular, I bet it's tricky, isn't it?
It's been all right. It's been all right, honestly. It's been fine.
Be nice.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone's been really nice, which is really unusual. Because usually we just go at each other. The most logical thing to do. Especially when, my sister doesn't have a sense of humour. So it's very easy to just throw a line out and immediately get some kind of hook on the day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But, no, it's just nice to see everybody. I mean, the cricket club are my only real friends. That's genuine. I don't have anybody from school or university or anything.
Joe, you can ring me anytime you like.
Oh no,
No,
I know, but I've seen you from a distance.
Well, we can do this one so you can get more people in it.
You can ring me as well, Joe.
Oh, well, that's really nice. I didn't want to bother people because it's still, because they're inside, aren't they? But I mean, I'm all right, but it's just weird. It's just weird not seeing everybody.
Good.
This is a weird conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be slightly different for you, Dukes, because you've got Bles next to you, haven't you?
Yeah, I see Bless quite a bit, yeah.
So
most days.
Yeah, I saw Chaz running this morning.
You were running or he were running?
I was running and he was running.
Okay.
Maybe 30 or 40 metres ahead of me. And I can't tell you how pleased I was just to see him in the flesh.
Gordon, send more house to save the house. Come on, the house!
Yeah, that's the idea of the idea.
I was just making sure I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
As opposed to discussing the season. Sorry. As opposed to discuss, I'm just having to let the cat in the other room.
Cat meowing.
Yeah. But me.
Oh dear. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of the Housecast podcast. We haven't been around for a while, but there's been some things going on, as you can probably tell by your own day-to-day lives. So this is probably going to be the isolation special. You can tell that we're not in the West End room. The audio quality is probably a bit better as well. With me I've got the usuals, Jez and Joe Martin. We've also got Joe Benedicci with us today. Joe's probably going to be helping us out quite a bit. So, hello everyone.
Hello, Adam.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I just point out, I think it's fair to say this is probably a trial for Joe B. If he gets through this, then he might be co-opted on. I don't know what you think, Joe M.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to say. I mean, I guess it could be a trial, but I mean, I'm going to vote for him anyway.
Okay.
Let's see how the episode goes, eh?
Right, let's get going.
So, it's officially been 231 days since there's been a bowled in Lancashire League, and we're not going to be seeing it for a little bit longer. So we thought we'd get this fired up, hopefully get it once a week. And now we're actually using Zoom. I'm sure a lot of people have been using that over the last couple of weeks. We can get more and more guests in if people like Stan knows how to turn his computer on, for example. I'd like to give a shout out to our new sponsor. Yeah, the podcast has a sponsor, Johnny Russell from Milltown Pies and the Art Caterers. He has helped us with the running costs of the podcast. So if you haven't tried his pies, you need to. And the link to his website will be in the description of the podcast as well. Just on behalf of the other three and myself, this episode is dedicated to Ray Marquis, who unfortunately passed away this week. Our thoughts are with the Marquis family, and we just thought we'd like to dedicate this to him. Okay, let's crack on. So, Jez, what have you been up to since we've been in isolation?
Well, obviously stopping in my house quite a lot. Just like everyone else, really, lots of jobs.
What do you drink, Jez, at home, predominantly? Don't say water.
Alcohol-wise?
Yeah.
I like a nice glass of Badger real ale.
Mm-hmm.
They sell it at Asda. I hope Badger are listening and they send me a free crate. But yeah, I like those. I did go through a stage of probably having one or two too many, but you get bored of it. And it's, I like my own company, but there's only, so much. I've got a nice little drop of Guinness going on at the moment just to get my iron levels up.
Medicinal.
Yeah, medicinal, yeah. The doctor said I needed a bit more iron. But other than that, I hosted a bingo last night on this front street, the whole of the street. I got conned into a little bit, but that went all right. I didn't know my audience, so I had to be very careful with different comments. And it's all right, all the ones, legs 11. When it comes to 69, it were a little bit different. We weren't a great deal.
Play it straight.
Yeah, just play it straight back.
Obviously, I haven't been to your house for a bit. And someone at your kitchen?
Yeah, we've had robbers in one night, the nicked up unit. It's bizarre, isn't it? We started doing it all planned. I think the plasterer, electrician and plumber were coming in the week after the lockdown. So I ripped everything off the wall, all plaster fell off, and then they couldn't come in.
Nightmare.
But oven works, fridge works, sink works, we're fine.
Okay. Joe Benedict, what have you been up to?
Oh, jobs. My missus is working me like a dog. I've had all sorts to do. Back garden. I've been doing a lot of work in back garden. I'm terrible at DIY, but I've got marginally better over the last few weeks just through practice. I've also been caring for my elderly neighbours, Chris Blizzard.
Excellent.
Making sure he's okay because obviously, he's infirm. So occasionally nipped at shop for him.
Get his all
that's it really. Bit of walking. That's it really.
Excellent. Nice to see your face, Joe Martin.
Hello.
Did you have a haircut before isolation?
No.
No.
No. I would have estimated I had a haircut maybe 6 to 8 weeks before the isolation.
Right. Okay.
I've got a full sort of headset on at the minute.
I'm going to say you look a bit Chris Kamara-ish.
Yeah, that's the look I was going for. As through periods of this podcast, I won't know what's going on. But no, it's pushing my hair down significantly. I would say this the band across the top, but at the back, it's touching the settee. It's big. I'm not going to lie to you. I look a bit like Neil Diamond in the 80s.
What have you been up to, Joe?
I'm well at the minute. I've been writing a scientific paper for all the research we've done. So that's been boring. I've been running every day.
Nice.
And we've been doing like nightly fitness classes within the household.
Graham getting involved?
Yeah, so my dad plans a session, Alex plans a session, Paddy plans one of the sessions. On a Friday, we do something a bit different, so we've done jazzercise, we did line dancing, and we've done salsa fitness as well.
Wow.
I have asked for some footage in these classes, but it hasn't been forthcoming. Can you sort that out?
Yeah, I can. For the line dancing, I dressed up as a cowboy. As is commonly known throughout the club, I was an avid fantasist.
A penchant for dressing up.
Penchant. Yeah. So I dressed in my full cowboy outfit, best that I had.
Surely somebody has taken a photo of that. Surely.
There is a photo of that, yeah.
Right. Can we have that so we can accompany that with the social media release of this podcast, please?
That could be the thumbnail of this podcast.
I'll just ask Barry.
No, absolutely. Right. No, that can be delivered. I'm not sure people will appreciate the leather chaps. I didn't have them. I had a very strong gene on. So that's that.
Cool. So, what are people's thoughts of a possible summer without some sort of cricket? How are you going to cope?
Gutted.
It feels like 3 winters in a row for me. Obviously, I've got a baby coming in 10 weeks, so that's probably going to take my mind off it. But yeah, it's not a good thought, is it? You can only watch so many reruns.
Yeah. And even if it's, to be honest, if it just, great going to watch Lancashire, great watching international, but it would just be good to be in the fresh air watching something that is meaningful, rather than just walking around a big piece of water with a dog.
Yeah.
Can you see it, Jez, or not? Can you see it happening or not?
No, I can't.
No, I can't.
To be fair, if they say that it is too much of a risk, why risk it?
You've got to trust it.
Wait till next April, but no, I can't. To be fair.
Well, we'll have to do more and more of these to try and cure the
Yeah,
bug.
definitely.
Right. Okay. So, Jez, you had a little bit of a story for us, didn't you? Or something that popped into your brain that you wanted maybe us to ask you a few questions about?
Yeah, it was. I don't know where the original tweet came from, but I saw that Steve Hitgrave mentioned something about Chris Scott in a game, Lowerhouse versus Colne. I can't remember it. I don't know if I was playing, where one of their players got angry at Chris Scott because he'd fiddled someone out. And I just thought, it's not that funny, that really, but let's have a think of what funny moments that we've had. And I was going to reply the following morning, but then I couldn't be bothered about it. But it kept making me giggle, and it's about when Roger Harper pro'd at Baco, and we played against him on umpteen, occasions because he was there for so long. And the various stories that were coming to mind around that were just fascinating. So I just did quite a bit of research around Harper. He pro'd there from 89 to 96. Obviously a fantastic, probably one of the best or the best at getting results and getting trophies for a club that the league has ever had, I would say. If anyone disagrees or can think of another, but so
describe him a bit as a player, Jez, because we were all too young to see him. So give us your take on him as a player.
Well, I only remember him as his pomp. You look at the stats, and he, early on he didn't do as well. Bacup obviously spent a lot of money on him, and then he just progressed into the league, and it was almost 5 players in one. His bowling, he could bowl sides out for fun, but he would just change all of a sudden. Right arm spinner, 6'4", 6'5", came down from a real height. But then he'd have a daft ball where he'd bowl it really wide and over top of the umpire's head, and it was flat, and they just developed it back up into a team that they were by no means the best amateurs. They had some great amateurs, but they were unbeatable in the way they played. And when I say 5 players, I obviously mean his batting, which was exceptional. He could get 200 in an innings. The way he watched him bat sometimes, and other games. Because Bacup wasn't a great track then either. It still wasn't, a good wicket. So sometimes chasing 120 was a real uphill task, and he will have got 62 not out in 50 overs and won a game for him. Yeah. So often. His fielding, it was like having, if he was fielding any close to the wicket, like having 3 fielders around you, it was that good. His bowling, he hardly needed a mid-off and a mid-on. It was that good. And I knew every trick in the book around the leagues, and so did that team, for getting into the umpire's ears, getting into them, no doubt, and I might get told off for this, the league committee's ears, and they had it all sewn up. There was no 2 ways about it. And they had Chappie, who was a wicket keeper. Can you remember him at all, Joe?
I played against. Sorry, we're going to have a differentiator, aren't we? For the Joes, but I've played against him loads of times. What a character! What a very, very, very good wicket keeper as well.
Yeah, it was. And it wasn't, conventional like you can be duped from now on, Joe, and you can be. Okay. It wasn't like our Joe Martin or you think of Andy McLeod's or other wicket keepers. He was 6'1", 6'2". Didn't look like he could catch anything, and when ball was not important, he'd stop it with his pads. He'd stop it with his knee. But when Harper threw one down leg side, was an intentional wide to get a professional out. He caught everyone and stumped them. And so they just had that aura about him. The Bay Cup side at that time, that they had everything. But
was David Ormrod playing for him at that time, Jez?
Towards the end, he didn't play up in the early ones, the 89 and onwards, but later on he did. So once you got Harper and David Ormrod bowling, they would regularly 23 or 25 overs each. Games, no one, including Bay Cup, it wasn't a 250 v a 260 season for him. But they were really good memories, really good fun about them. It was good.
So how did we do as a team against Roger Harper? Then go on, get on to how we combated his bowling style.
Well, his first season was 89, and we beat them both games that year, home and away. We had a pro called Mansoor Ilahi, a Pakistan great cricketer. He could swing it round corners. Really good. Couldn't speak a word of English, but was really good fun. A top class cricketer, that lad. Nothing drastic about those two games. We beat them twice. We had Hartley Elaine as sub-pro for us on the second game. Then in 90, we had Delroy Morgan, a little West Indian, opening bat. Really good opening batter, but Brian Holmes ruined him through Guinness. Into minors every Thursday. It was about the same size as you, Joanne. Little, really lovely lad, but we got it. Holmes kept taking him to the minors. Gary Morehouse made his debut in 90 against Bay Cup. We had them 56. Sorry, we got them 56 all out that second season. We beat them then, and then the fourth game of Harper's reign, it was abandoned. And then he got to Barker the year after, and we started developing a bit of a side where we were trying to get a team together and plan our cricket, and we did all right. That season against them, but they beat us both games, and you could see Harper then was starting to come into his own. 20 overs, 45 for 7, 13.4 overs, 20 for 6. Real low-scoring games, but he was getting the better of us. 92, 93, we won one game in those two seasons. And then we had Craig Light as our pro in 94. Stan was really our main experienced batter. I think it's around that time Stan developed a strategy of how he was going to play Harper for the rest of his career. And it didn't include using his bat. And like I said, in that 94 season, we would just completely try and keep Harper out and then get runs from the other end. But then when Ormrod's starting to play as well, and Harper can get most of his scores anyway, it was a little bit flawed, I thought, was that theory. But then, it went on, and we lost the last. We lost the two games in 95 and 96. We won the very last game that Harper played against us, and it was interesting that Paul Stanley got Harper out in both games in 96. I do remember that. He had a little bit. Stanley got the yips from time to time when he was bowling, but he always used to bowl well against Harper. So it was, they were all real memorable games.
It sounds like, from what you said there, it sounds like we did have a little bit of success against them. From what you started off saying how dominant they were, we did beat them quite a few times there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you look when they were really in the pomp, say 91. And then they continued after 96. Did they get Young as pro, and they got a couple of
and Dale, didn't they?
And Dale, they were still winning. So out of those, I think we've won 3. One's been abandoned, and we've lost the other probably 10, something like that.
Okay, not a great record then.
No, it wasn't, but it just was. They were good memories, and I think back as to how we played, and that's where the couple of great stories came from. With Stan had this theory, and it was at the time where Stan was at his fiercest with his banter, and some of the younger ones were coming to the fore with getting a little bit back. Gary Morehouse was captain through about 3 seasons of that period, and Gary, I fantastic captain. He was probably, up there with the best I've played with. Then he would really think about games. He would really try and work things out. But him and Stan probably didn't see eye to eye with the plan against Harper. The one particular game, I'll have to speak to Paul Stanius to find out exactly which one it was. I think there's one where Stan's, I think he's got 40, and we're all out for something like 120. And I remember him batting all the way through almost. I think we were down to bat with number 10 or number 11. And Paul Stanley's got out to bat. And no, sorry, I don't know if it was Paul Stanley. One of the 10 or 11 have gone out to bat. And Stan has said to him, what's Gary saying about me? And this number 10 or 11 that's gone out, he says he thinks you're a swear word. And it really did, did tickle us all. But finally, I'll get to the story of how it really came to the fore of the comedy element of it. We played at home, so it was either 96 or 95. 95, Stan got 41 out, and I think it's that game where he's battered all the way through. But it's one of those seasons, and we're all getting ready to go into the dressing room, meeting up the hour before or whatever. Stan turns up probably half an hour before, and Paul Stanley's not there. And he's always punctual with Stanley, he'd always be there on time, so he was clearly up to something. Everyone's in the dressing room, sat in the seats, and we probably got Fleggs as pro that year. He was a real Australian character. He'd always sit there giggling, and we've got hair like Joanne.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, 20 minutes before starting again, Paul Stansfield kicks open the dressing room door, walks in with his grey Nichols bag over his left shoulder, his bat under his right arm, and he's got a tin of paint, white emulsion in his right hand, and a paintbrush in his left hand. And we start looking, and I'm thinking, what on earth's going on here? I take it quite seriously, the warm-up. And I think it was Fleggs who said, Stanley, what are you doing with that? He said, well, I'm going to paint all these walls when Stan walks out to bat against Harper and then watch it dry. You can imagine the dressing room just erupted. Stan wasn't too bad. And I do think that game ended up 41 out. But it was, Adam, it was great fun doing the research around that and, just looking at all those games, and things do come back to you. It was, and like I said, I've loads of questions to ask other people, Blaise and and a few other people. I remember your uncle playing against Harper.
I know I'm going to bring it.
And he, Shez, it will have 18th of June 1994. Shez played against Roger Harper. 3 overs, 25 for none, and he bowled with no socks on.
Why?
I don't know. I forgot him or whatever. I said, Shez, why have you no socks on? No, I can feel my boots better. And that was your uncle's last game for the 15.
Oh, really? I can always remember watching him playing in the second. I was a bit young when he played some games in the first. Yeah. Stan tells a brilliant story about when Shez played against Roger Harper, and I'll let Stan tell it. And as we always say, we'll have to get Shez on at some point because he always said he bowled Roger Harper back into testing. Shez.
Well, that 1994, I'm just looking at this research. We played them twice. Craig Light was our pro. The first game, 18th of June, Shez's last first team game. Baker beat us by 195 runs. The second game, the 2nd of July, Baker beat us by 10 wickets. Roger Harper, total bowling figures, 37 overs, 48 for 8 in those 2 games.
There you go.
As you can see, dominated.
As always, if you have any memories of those seasons, or if you was at the game and something else happened, or you recall it a little differently to Jez, feel free to send us a little bit of a tweet, and I'm sure that'll spark a discussion on Twitter.
Yeah, people might remember if they want to ask any questions about it. Was that against against Harper in '91? 14th of July 1991, where Manoj Prabhakar, our professional, was caught gouging the ball. And their manager, Ali Komrov, brought it into the dressing room. I was captain and said, they beat us, they stuffed us. And he threw the ball to me and said, Jez, what do you think of that? And I've never seen anything like it. And I'd be bowling at the other end with it. So, they beat us.
But you didn't have to do a press conference and Crowie Bomber tapping on your shoulder, did you?
No, but the Daily Mail contacted me. Got into the Daily Mail, did that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you respond to that? What did they ask you?
It was shot real. Can you remember Alec?
Yeah.
I remember Alec, yeah.
Lovely
Big
fella.
beard.
Yeah. And he was Bearcup's manager. So he'd come into the foyer at our dressing room. Jez, can I have a word? And it's normally, do you want a pint or whatever? Yeah, what's up, Alec? And I'm fed up. We've got beat again. Face like a slapped arse. What do you think of that? And I looked and I said, no. And I said something like, I was really arsy with him, which I apologised afterwards. I said something like, well, I've been bowling with him. I didn't see it then. I don't know what you're trying to get at. But look at it, it's all scuffed. I said, well, show it umpires then. So he did. He went out and showed it umpires. And I don't know if I think we got fined. I can't remember what happened, but I remember I was working the week after Daily Mail rang me. Can you tell us anything about this? And I quickly got onto Renner's for some help, and he helped me out with some sort of co-op for the Daily Mail.
Gordon, send more house to save the house.
We're all really good at picking out the games we did really well in and the seasons we did really well in and the ones that we had great professionals. But I can remember, I think I would have been 15. The 2002 season were quite eventful. Quite a few different things happened. What can you remember of it, Joe?
So I was 8.
So not a lot.
9,
You're probably
maybe.
James
I can remember 3 different things from that year. The first one is I once bought the pro, Jacques Rudolph, a bottle of Coke. He asked me to buy a bottle of Coca-Cola and take it to him on the edge of the boundary, which I did. I also walked with him. He once hit a massive 6 over the score box, and it landed it smashed a car window.
Right.
Of I think it was like a BMW soft top from memory, and it smashed the window. I remember walking with him to have a look at it. And the second, the third and final thing was I can remember Stan scoring. Either made a comeback or something like that. He were helping the seconds out, but he ended up scoring a couple of tons, I think, in the second, or at least 1 century, I think.
Right.
I don't know if that might be a different year.
I think.
No, you're right.
You're
right. Right. He did do that in 2002. Yeah, you're right.
So Joe Beneduce, obviously you and Jez were a lot older than us. No offence.
Right. Well, 2002 was like one of my early seasons in the side. So I just thought this was normal, really. This is how this season played out. There were quite a few odd things that happened, which thankfully haven't really been repeated in later years. But we weren't very good. The stats show that we finished second from bottom. But we actually won 7 games and with 1 tie. And the team who finished 5th, Nelson, they only won 9 games. So we actually, despite finishing second from bottom, we actually only lost 1 more game than the team who finished 5th, which I thought was a bit odd. But that comes down to the fact that the games that we lost, we didn't get any bonus points because we got absolutely walloped more often than not. The games that we lost we did get some right towellings. Obviously, Jez talked about Bearcup a little bit previously there. We played Bearcup twice in 2002. We lost at home in 19 overs. We got 95 and they knocked them off in 19 overs. And in the away game, we lost in 7.5 overs. We made 51. In a rain effect. It was rain affected, but we were 51 for 6 after 30 overs and they knocked them off in 7.5 overs.
I wasn't going to defend them, Duke. Well, I was going to say that. It weren't 51 all right, it was 51 for 6.
Yeah, I can only presume, well, I hope it started raining halfway through our innings. I hope it wasn't the 30-over game at the start of the game, because that would have been particularly bad. A couple of other standouts from me from 2002. Obviously, 2002 was the cup semi-final against Church, which anybody who was watching or connected with the club in 2002 will remember. It was particularly painful because, again, we got absolutely walloped. I can't remember the exact scores. To be honest, I've burned it from my memory. They got 340, I think, batting first. We had, a bit of a ragtag side out. Nicky got injured the day before, so he wasn't playing, and we stumbled to about 160, 170, with thanks to Gav's 60 odd to give us a bit of respectability. But in all honesty, we were never ever in the contest. That was particularly painful. Tony Woodward's finest hour came in 2002.
Yeah, that's right.
Tony didn't play a hell of a lot of first team cricket for us. He'll be the first to admit it. It wasn't his strongest sport, but what a fun bloke to play with, and great encourager, and obviously played football at a very high level, and that was clear to see that he played sport at a high level because of the way he approached stuff. Cricket wasn't his strongest sport, but he did manage a stumping of a professional against Clinton Peak, which he still regales that tale to this day.
Yeah.
Jez, I don't know if you remember. You were bowling, just me. That's why I mentioned it. Jez, do you remember Stan and Jack opening the batting against Haslingden, and they had the pitch announcer announcing the players as they were coming onto the pitch, and Stan couldn't find his gloves.
Yeah. So
Jack had got most of the way out to the middle on his own, and the announcer had announced Jack Rudolph. And then there was a long pause. He's finally joined by Stan Heaton. What a clown.
I remember that. I think that was...
What was it?
Yeah,
it would have been, yeah. Yeah, it would have been.
And he was a very good announcer. It was really good, really took pride in announcing it. And it was just that funny. And Stan's famous saying, because he was always, last in the dressing room, always messing about, playing pranks. We're batting Stan. Yeah, I know. Umps on the way. Yeah, I know. But you haven't got off the wall. Yeah, you stood there in your jockstrap. Yeah, I know. I said, well, Stan, come on, you're going to have to get a move on. They won't start without me. Always he won't start. Well, he really did that day.
Oh dear. What do you remember about the cup semi, Jez?
Absolutely gutted. I think that's probably the most disappointed I've ever been, because I was convinced we were going to win.
Yeah.
I just had this gut feeling, as Joe's, the point Joe's making there. Yeah, there was a few players either finding the way in the Lancashire League. I include Dooch and Muss and others. There was other players who were finding out whether they were good enough or whether they're ever going to be good enough. And that's with all respect. We were going through a transition period. So when Jack's got big runs or was really up for it, and I'm not criticising him saying he's not up for it, but when the feeling was right, when it was sunny, when it was a decent track, when Blaise was on form, I felt we could beat anyone. I did think, I was bowling all right at the time. Like I said, there was, other players were bowling well. Johnny Muscle were bowling quick then, and me and him were opening, and when we got it going, it was going well, and I just fancied us for winning that for some reason.
One of my memories of turning up on that day, weren't they like the world's shortest boundary?
Yes.
It was a very short boundary. I don't doubt that was on purpose because their pro's a left-hander. So we would have always been up against it. We, as a club, we never had any left-handers. Obviously, we did that day, but I've no doubt they did that on purpose. But anyway, fair play to them. I know you've been looking at some games from that year, Jez, and you were saying, we had you were saying about the side, but what stuck out for me when I've been looking back at the cards from that game was, you were right about you and Johnny opening the bowling, but after that, Matt bowled. He didn't always bring himself on straight away. But after that, it was Blaise or me, bit part at absolute best. Yeah. So we had, and Jack obviously, had his own tribulations with the ball. So quite often we had three bowlers.
Yeah, it's true.
Johnny, Jez, and Matt.
Yeah, that Rick Dooch. And I remember Matt was captain that year, and we all do it. We all do it. You do get affected by the captaincy. And if you're in any doubt, you underplay yourself. The batter or a bowler, and Matt that year didn't trust himself, or didn't, he had a lot on his plate with dealing with things. And when Jax came to the club, was a young lad, obviously going to be a star, but was very much sold to us as a good leg spinner that can bowl attacking leg spin or defensive leg spin. And with the runs he was likely to get, we thought, happy days. We beat East Lancs first game of the season quite easily, and East Lancs were a good side then. The day after, and I remember this, Ramy away, who were a top side. You look at the players in their side, absolute really good side.
Michael Clark as well.
Yeah, the Michael Clark were their pro that day. Yeah.
What happened with his wicket?
He got a duck. I got him out. But we got beat. Just I remember it. We were rain affected. We lost by 16 runs, but it wasn't that far away. We really were unlucky in that game. And then all of a sudden, I thought we had a really good start, but then third game of season, we were lost by 9 wickets with 30 overs to go against Hazard. And that was just how the season went from there. So
we did get a couple of wallopings.
Yeah, the next game we lost by 100 runs at Nelson away. Then we lost by 10 wickets against Bacup at home. Then it's abandoned. And then we beat Aki, and it goes on and it goes on. But just going back to your original question, Joe, because we can go through that season more and more, but a big blow for that semi-final for those who can remember, the day before we played Church, and we got beat by 7 wickets. Can you remember that game, Joe? Can you?
I can. I can only really remember the start of the innings. I can't really remember much about the game or how it panned out. Obviously, I've looked back at it since, but obviously the start of our innings does stick in my mind because something quite memorable did happen, and I don't know if now's a good time to
I think
call upon our.
So you can get our guest in.
He's a former Lowerhouse professional, isn't he? I think
he is, and scorer.
And scorer.
Yeah. He's done a lot as our guest. He did score for us in 1980. He scored for us in 2005 at the back end of the season as a bit of a favour for us.
Yeah.
Is he here?
Not yet.
He's probably finishing his bottle of Wicked off. That's probably why he's not joined us just yet.
Here he is.
Here he is.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. We have joined us Mr. Nicholas Hope. How are you, Nick?
Very well, thank you. How are you, Joe?
Yeah, good, thank you. We've just been talking.
Lockdown crap.
Yeah.
Right, isn't it?
We've just been talking about 2002.
Yeah.
We did a little bit about the Cup semi-final, which unfortunately you didn't play in. You couldn't play in a Cup semi-final because of something that happened the day before. We also played Church the day before.
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about your memories from that game?
Yeah. I remember, I think the last 3 weekends have been called off because of rain.
Correct. That's correct, yeah.
And we were gasping to play. But the 3 weekends before that, me and Stan had opened and I'd watched from, he always took first knock because he wanted to, and I'd watched from the other end. It seemed like innings on end, padding ball back. So every week we'd be like 4 for none or 6 overs, and he'd get a one off his pad on last ball of every over. So on this particular day against Church, I said, right, on way out, I said, Stan, we just have a bit of a change. We need to just like, because one, nobody's watching. If they do come, they've all knocked off after 3 overs. So we need to just try and move things on a little bit. So do you not mind? And I'll take for Snock. It's through this, so that obviously what happened after, it's quite ironic, really. So I said, I'll take for Snock and let's just try and mix things up a little bit. Right. So reluctantly, he says, okay. So we go out, it's wet. I remember it being wet. It must have rained for a month, I think. So amateur bowling, I can't remember who it were. I'm take for Snock, he bowls first one, and I just gently guides it behind point for an easy 2. So we ambles up and down for this 2, and Stan sort of smiled and winked and gave me a thumbs up because we'd got more off that ball than we had off the previous 3 overs the last time we'd opened. He then bowled the next ball, and he sort of bowled it into my legs and then just nudged it into mid-wicket, and there's no mid-wicket. So I says 1, and he's leant on his bat, obviously, as he is, and I shouts 1 straight away, and eventually he starts moving. So highly tuned athletes who'd obviously done a really good warm-up, starts herring down the wicket, and I must have been about 8 or 9 yards down, and my hamstring proper snapped. I don't know whether you've ever done it, but it's like you've been shot. It weren't a pull, it went completely. So at this stage, Stan's coming close to me, and he doesn't obviously know what to do, whether to stop and comfort me, or comfort the end. But it's all a bit of a blur then. But I do remember Church, somebody ran from mid-on to mid-wicket, picked the ball. This is how slowly it all happened. And then he obviously thought, it's pointless running me out because I'm out anyway. So threw it to Stan's end, which I thought were a bit out of order and probably bad sportsmanship. So Stan's only just got past where I am, probably confused whether to go back or to go to the wicketkeeper's end, and they run him out. I'm in a heap on floor, and Stan just looks bewildered. I don't remember a great lot of that about that because it's very painful. It was really painful. What I do remember when he got back into the dressing room, saying that one of the most embarrassing moments of my cricketing career, and not only that, off because he had to help me off. And the other time was Jacques were number 3 and Blaise were number 4, and them two coming in together because we were a double swap. Because we were two effectively off 2 balls. Because
two for 2 off 2 balls.
2 for 2 off 2 balls. Although, it was officially 2 for 1, but there was no way out of going back. And then, as you say, the day after was at the semi-final when that pro got about 400. And I sat and watched with my leg up, all blacked out back of it. And that was it.
Yeah, wow. I do remember, I don't know whether it's just Lowerhouse or other clubs, but we have that humour as players. I remember that happening, and we just all disappeared because we were laughing. My brother's just started answering. He's out probably for the rest of the season. He was black and blue for days and weeks, but it's just that type of humour. And they carry him in, and Blaise and Jacks are walking out together, looking at each other. I'm just looking at the scorecard here. Jacks were out for 3. So we're effectively 3 wickets down for 5 runs, it says.
Yeah.
Top 3 have gone.
Yeah, but we had loads of overs in hand, though, didn't we then? At least if in hand, there'd have been 8 overs gone.
Yeah.
When he'd done it.
Yeah.
At least we hadn't wasted a load of balls.
Yeah.
But it
go on, Nicky.
It was, with hindsight, obviously, it's bloody hilarious, and you just couldn't write it, could you? I bet it's never happened before, has it? Anyway, any cricket, never. No.
So as a cup booster before the cup semi-final the day after, we were 135 all out. Sorry, not all out. We were 8 down, so they didn't bowl us out because even with your injury, it would have only been 9. 135 for 8, and they knocked them off in 26 overs.
Right, okay.
3 down.
Yeah,
so we didn't get much of a confidence boost going into the cup semi-final day after.
No. And then we got an even bigger tater in day after, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I remember that. I can't remember what Jack. I don't think Jack Rudolph thought it was funny. Everybody else did. Les got a few runs, didn't it?
Yeah, he got 47.
Yeah. I thought he did. But
Frank got 20 odd.
When Jack's come back in dressing room, and I was probably led there with a packet of frozen peas on back. Everybody else either pissing themselves or disappeared because they didn't want to piss themselves. And a South African international cricketer comes back in. Sees all this going on. It'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
I wonder if he remembers it. It'd be great to find out if he remembers that, because I mean that's such a weird, occurrence. I wonder if he remembers it.
I'm going to tweet him now.
Corbus, who prod for us in 2014, he's good mates with Jacques Rudolph.
Right.
So I wonder if I could. I still speak to Corbus quite a lot, so I wonder if I could try and get him in touch to get him on.
Yeah.
Send him a copy at scorecard. Send him a copcopy at scorecard and just see if Jack remembers this.
Admittingly, Nick, I prefer. I love having you on.
Yeah.
But just as an interesting.
Similar standards of batters, but obviously. And now we're right-handed, so
yeah, that were the main difference. What else? What else can you remember from that year, Nicky? Because that was your last year, weren't it, for us?
Was it?
Yeah.
Is that when I edged ball into my face as well?
Yes. Yeah.
That was Matt's fault. That and all that one, because my eyes were obviously going. 2012, we were now 37 then. And my eyes were obviously going, and so Matt said, "I think why don't you bat at 5 or 6 or something?" And the first time I had an open innings for however long I'd played, so I said, "Oh, yeah, whatever." I'd lost a load of interest then. That was pretty obvious, I think. So I said, "Yeah, okay." So it goes in, and there's 2 spinners bowling. So I thought, well, I don't need to wear a helmet because I've never not worn a helmet. And then I think I get a few runs, and then that. Ray tall spinner, I remember that for Cone. What were he called? Roberts.
Andy Roberts.
Yeah, the tall lad with blonde hair.
Yeah.
And again, why? I never swept anybody ever, and I tried to sweep him and top edged it right into my eye, and that broke my eye socket. So that was definitely time to call it a day.
Yeah, I were actually batting with you that day. Obviously, you won't remember because you were probably concussed, but. I thought I were a bit of a jinx because only a season or 2 earlier I'd been batting with Pete Gaynor at seconds at Aslingden, and he top edged one into his own moustache, and his glasses come off, and he were on all fours, padding around pitch trying to find his glasses whilst there were claret pouring from his mouth. So when that happened to you, and I was at other end for both, I was starting to get a bit of a complex. Actually, I thought maybe it's me.
That were a right shiner, weren't it? Can you remember that? It caught like it had been in a boxing match.
Yeah. And you didn't play again after that, did you? Obviously that one game when you come and helped us out in 2005, but
yeah, I didn't realise that last year, but because I didn't realise the top edging was the same year as that. But that was definitely time to finish, weren't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Time. Yeah. So
yes.
Last year you were talking about that. You got 21 that game, Nick. Again, it was Colne away. Colne at home.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Just to bring you up to speed, Nick. We've been talking about the 2002 season and things that have happened, and we talked about we either got absolutely battered or we won some great games that year because of obviously Jack's ability. Yeah. Me and Muss were bowling really quite well that season, but we had no one else to really bowl. But you look at that side. I've only just looked at this now, Dooch. That side that against Colne, where Rudolph opening, Heaton, Blezzard, Nick Hope, Dave Worley, Matt Hope, Joe Beneducci, Frank, me, Mahmood and Russell. It's not a bad side.
No.
It's not. No. You think of some of the other players that played in that season, if we'd have kept that side and Jackson done, then...
Yeah, it's not a bad side, but I think it highlights how weak you are if your pro doesn't bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think if you don't have a pro that can chip in with ball, I think you're always going to struggle regardless of how good everybody else is because it's such an impact on the game. Yeah. And obviously, Jack had his issues with the ball, and I think that's why we finished up where we did.
Where did we finish in league?
Second bottom.
Second, right? Yeah. I I didn't think it was a clever. Yeah, and he'd probably got 1,100 runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was that the year he got the 500s?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Nick, when I've gone through it, the stuff that happened that year, and I'm sure it'll be the same if we go through each year that we've played, the things that happen, you can't believe are in the same season. What happened in 2002, you could have 4 podcast episodes of what happened.
Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? Yeah.
Are we carrying on with the 2002 for a little bit, or?
Yeah, go on, Jez. You've obviously got pages and pages of notes, so fire away.
I've been busy.
I can't stop too long because I've got bingo tonight. So I need to get everything ready for bingo because it's a jackpot. There's 30 quid rolling over from last week. So, but I'm all right for 10 minutes or so.
You need to polish your dobber.
Yeah, to shake my balls up. Yeah.
We'll just quickly fly through. Mahmood made his debut that year, the first game of the season.
Mohsin,
yeah, quite quick, but quite short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
really?
he played. I do remember him now. And we thought he was going to become, a decent bowler that would bowl, but disappeared from it. We've been.
I think you're intellectual, which is never a good mix for a cricketer, is it? Because they always go off to university and what have you. I think he wants to be a dentist.
Certainly not a Lowerhouse. It's not.
No.
Yeah, we lost by 10 wickets against Bay Cup, and they had 30 and a half overs to go. And yeah,
would have been pissed that week.
that was some tatering. Again, Higgs, he got that 77 against us the day Nicky got injured, and battered us out of sight. We
got beat by Church 3 times that year. They beat us three times.
Yeah. And they weren't. Higgs was a good player, but Tony Woodworth made his debut that year, 6th of June that we mentioned.
Is that at Tomeden?
No, it was Rami at home he made his debut.
All right, okay.
We lost by 3 wickets.
His finest hour was against Tommen and Nicky. We just mentioned that before you came on. He was stumping their pro out. That was his finest ever hour.
Yeah.
Then there's obviously the incident at Accrington where Jax decides to tell us that he's not fit to bowl. And
at what time? What time did he tell us?
Well, if we started at 1:30 in those days, it was probably about 22 pigging minutes past.
Yeah. It didn't go well for him all that after that, did it? Yes.
No, he didn't do too well, did he?
No. No, I meant when you grabbed him by the throat and hung him off that coat hook.
Well, maybe I should have done it in April.
Yeah. Think trying to get hold of him to come on, chaps, I probably won't bother.
in the middle of that run of games, he got 154 at Rishton. Can you remember that? And we tied it.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember a chap called Brian Thresh? Anybody, you two old boys, you remember him from Irish League?
Yeah.
He was the umpire. That day. I'm sure he was.
All right, okay.
And he gave
Thresh, Harper said,
Yeah. So obviously Jack got 150, and I can't remember exactly what. I think in my mind we maybe got 250. Did we, Jez?
240. We
240.
All right, okay. And Jack got 150 of them.
Right.
24 extras.
Yeah, 24 extras. Well, Matt Stanny's. It's one of Matt Stanny's claims to fame because he was in a 50-run partnership with Jack and didn't score a run. But yeah, I can't remember. Would it have been who scored the runs for them? Jez, have you got the card up? Would it have been
Russell
Wally?
Yeah,
Russ Wally.
66, and then they were shared out a little bit. When you look at their side, Russell's brother playing. Peter Sleep was amateur. They had Paul Adams, Nick. You remember the frog defender?
Yeah.
He pro from didn't get many runs, but obviously a leg spinner.
Do you remember him warming outside dressing room?
No.
Do you remember that? When Stan bollocking him? Yeah. You're not allowed to practice or something. With what was the rule? Was that within 10 minutes of the game or something?
Yeah,
half time. You're not allowed to practice at half time.
Yeah. Oh, it must have been that then. And he's bowling these things over the back of his head in the interval, and Stan went out and bollocked him. No, you can't do that again. It's like, welcome. He bowled me a double bouncer, though, you know. He did, and I thought, what? I couldn't hit it for laughing. I think he got me out ball after. But he bowled me a double bouncer.
Oh, God.
Game, Jez, was it? I think there was LBW for Johnny Russell off the last ball innings for the tie, was there? From memory.
Yeah, that's right. Wise. Yeah.
And that was them all out?
Yeah, 240 all out.
That's a brave decision, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was Duke's mate umpiring, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd give it. I always remember it because I've never seen him umpire a league game before or since.
Yeah.
And then we go on, and it's quite significant things. Tony Woodward's last game was that year. Matt Stanley's last game that year. Again,
Stan Eaton's last game.
Stan retired
that year. Yeah.
It was. Jack
and Nicky as well.
Yeah.
Goes on and get those 500s, and then his LB the next game. I remember that. It was a real dubious LB against Nelson. Then we got beat by Bay Cup again. Nicky, we mentioned this earlier, but Bay Cup beat us by 10 wickets at home, and then away they beat us by 9 wickets in a reduced over game. They knocked our score off in 7 overs. We were 51 for 6 off 30 overs, and they knocked them off in 7 overs.
Was that the one when Stan batted at home and Stan batted all the way through for 40, something like that?
No, that was a Harper season. That was
right, okay. Who was their Bay Cups pro then?
Young.
2002, was it Sean Young? Yeah.
Yeah.
You were a good player, weren't you?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, fantastic player. And then there were different pros that were playing for us at the end of the season. I can't remember playing with Mahmood, Hamid, and Claude Henderson played for us for a game. Stan's last game ever for Lowerhouse first team, 1st of September. Paul Stanley's last game ever, 7th of September.
Blimey, yeah. So
Dave Wally as well finished that year.
Dave Wally, 8th of September, last game.
Yeah. Is that how he started winning stuff after that?
Say again?
Is that how he started winning stuff a couple of years after that?
Yeah, I see. The club's never looked back, has it? Just back to what you said, Joe, about ball. That's why I think Martin Van Yarsel were far superior pro than Jack. So another reason not to get Jackson, probably. But not only when he got in, he just never looked like again. He was the best batter I've ever seen. He was so. When he got to 30, he always got 100. It seems, and he never hit ball in air, did he? Ever?
No.
You know,
and his bowling were manufactured, weren't it? But he could do a job.
Absolutely. Yeah, he bowled. We used to say bowl it into his thigh pad because he used to be able to turn it and bounce because he was so tall, and it kept hitting the thigh pad. Yeah, and he did a job, didn't he? Yeah. So far superior. Jack's probably a lot more talent. But as a club pro, Martin Red and shoulders above him, weren't
he? Yeah, without a doubt, he was. But, a great season to look back on, I feel. Yeah. Martin got 84 against us that year as well, when he was throwing at Enfield.
Right, okay, yeah.
Just around 2002 off, if you go on the brilliant Lancashire League website, our club averages aren't actually on 2002, which is really weird. Every other club has got their first team averages on, but ours aren't.
But our second and third team are?
Well, I was just going to say our second and third team are. So I just had a quick look at those. Does anybody know who our third team leading run scorer was in 2002?
I haven't looked, but I have a guess. Is it Greg Brown?
Jez, do you want to have a... Yeah, Greg Brown. Greg Brown got 257 runs in 10 innings for our third 11.
Wow, bloody hell.
Anybody... Do you remember Greg Brown?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Just turned up one night at practice, didn't he? We thought, blimey, it's going to be a fast bowler. He were off his head, weren't he, on whatever we were on?
Yeah, we're nuts. Yeah. I think he went witness protection programme,
Yeah, wasn't he not called Greg Brown? I'm sure he wasn't called Greg Brown. I just have to cut that story short, maybe.
I think he was.
Yeah, he was a character. I think he was playing for 13. I forget one at Stanley to tell this story. I don't really remember. It might have been seconds, but he played like a sweep and let go at bat, and it hit wicketkeeper in face.
Yeah, and then he were at Accrington, and then he put his toe over the line and went safe.
Yeah, crackers.
Stan, I can remember Stan telling me when he first came to the club, Stan welcomed him. He went, "What do you do, Greg?" He goes, "I bat." And he goes, "Well, you're 3 times better than this lot."
Hey, well, we're probably going to have to wrap this up, or it's going to be a feature-length episode. We've been recording for an hour and 10 minutes.
All right.
You can go.
Well, people have time.
If you
Yeah,
want
I can get. I'm in to get bingo sorted, don't I?
Okay.
Do you remember that? Just before we knock off, do you remember that barmaid that we had that year? She smelled like a cricket bat.
No.
Yeah, she was called Lindsay Doyle.
What's blue and doesn't weigh a right lot?
Go on.
Light blue.
Oh my God.
Lindsay Doyle. Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Cheers.
See you later.
Ta-ra. Bye.
That was great fun.
That was a good crack, that. So what we'll probably do, wrap up for this week. Don't forget to tweet us if you've got anything you want us to cover, or if likewise you want to be on this. We'll probably be recording again next week. So if you've got any suggestions, please just let us know. Hope from anyone else.
Topics, Adam. If anyone's got any topics they want covering, then give us a shout.
Perfect.
Yeah, we've all got plenty of time on our hands, so if you give us a topic, we can deep dive and have a look at it and research.
Look it up. Until next time.
Gordon, send Morehouse to save the house.